to anticipate price changes of a financial instrument, like let's say a stock or a future, based on prior price changes. And you also look at different patterns and relationships in that price history. But instead of doing it yourself, what you can do is turn to the recognia tool, which is it's a computer program, and it can help you spot these trends and assist you with pattern recognition. Now, the thing is, recognia, Schwab does not own recognia. It is a third-party tool. They are not affiliated with Charles Schwab. Now, also, when it comes to recognia, it uses technical analysis. And Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research. It's something that you can do and use to complement your research. Now, all of the tools and features that I'm showing you today, they are made available through you to recognia, and Schwab does not endorse any of these tools or features. Now, any examples that we take a look at today, any stock symbols that I type in, they're being shown just for demonstration purposes only. It's not intended to portray any type of recommendation to buy or sell any particular security or to put on any strategy. It's just so that you get more familiar with how to use this tool. And also, when you type in these symbols, maybe you've got some support and resistance levels. So I'm going to challenge our audience. Maybe we could come up with similar support and resistance levels as the actual computer. All right, now recognia is available under Launch Tools. You simply go to recognia. That's this little blue circle with this gold little swoosh there for the market trend. And then what you can do is actually put up recognia and have it available as its own tab. So let me show you how to do that. Just click on this plus icon. And I like these tools to actually fill the tab. It makes it a lot easier to see. So I'm going to type in recognia 2 because I already have a tab up with the name. And then what I'm going to do is go back to Launch Tools, click on the icon, and I'm going to maximize it. So click on that maximize icon in the upper right-hand corner. Now the thing is, it's going to show up a little bit small. So to increase the font of the recognia tool, you have to use some keys on your keyboard. So you click on the control button, CTRL, and then at the same time, click on the plus key, the plus key in the upper right-hand corner with that equal sign. And when you hit it at the same time, sometimes you have to do it definitely more than once for it to kick in. And then once you do that, it will increase the font. All right. Okay, great. So the next thing I'm going to point out is that in the upper right-hand corner, there are some links that Recognia did supply for us. There's a Getting Started link that's created once again by Recognia, and also there's some very good video tutorials. So check those out. Now, throughout today's session, I'm going to be using this back button and the next button, because as you navigate around the site, click on something, it will take you to a new section, and you might want to get back to where you started. And so I'll be using actually the back button quite a bit. At the very top, there are 4 tabs. We're going to be spending a lot of time on the Technical Insight tab, because that's when you have a stock in mind. Now you can also type in not just stocks, but other securities. You could type in ETFs too. You could also look up a currency or an index. Now you can also look up different products across the world, because Recognia really is an international firm. They do have technical analysts and programmers all over the world, and they were purchased, actually Trading Central bought them a few years back. So they are owned by Trading Central. And I'll be sharing with you some featured ideas that are being supplied by Trading Central on the Featured Ideas tab. But you could look up these different products. Today I'll be focusing on stocks that are of course, listed on US exchanges. Now, the next thing I'd like to point out, and let's take a look at some symbols that we have people typing in right now. All right, and Shelley, great, you're giving me some sectors, super. Also, I've got some sectors from Lamar in Maryland, and you've given me some stocks. All right, great. Let's check out for Lamar in Maryland. Let's look at advanced micro devices. So I'm going to type in AMD, going to click on search. And you know what? Before we just dig a little deeper, let's go simply, and I'm going to ask Lamar, let's go simply to a chart and type in AMD. And the charts on Street Smart Edge, they're located under Launch Tools. Simply click on Chart. And what I'd also like to do is find out, do you currently use technical analysis? If so, what types of studies do you use? You can apply them onto your Street Smart Edge chart by opening up the toolbox and clicking on Studies. Then you click on View All Studies, and I have some different simple moving averages up here, and that can help you spot maybe support and resistance levels. Maybe you're looking for some different indicators. You can overlay some indicators onto the chart itself, or you could also have drop down below some different lower studies, and they're available here. Now, we're going to take a look at what recognia has to say. And, let's just take a look at, and it's tough. It's been quite a choppy market, especially since we had, especially since, you can see since late February. But if we take a look at the past 2 months, where are we seeing maybe some support in this particular stock? That 50-day, it seems to really be following the, you could see that really seems to be following a bit more of the 20-day, especially when you go in the past, but it has started to, drop quite a bit. But the 50-day, that's an important level as well. Now, recognia uses a 21-day simple moving average. So I'm going to tweak it. And the thing is, when you get these different signals, what you can do is turn to the regular Street Smart Edge chart and start to look for these levels. So let's go and click on View All Studies. And instead of using the typical 20-day simple moving average that we use in our sessions, I'm going to match recognia and put in the 21-day. All right, so Lamar likes to use simple moving averages. He also likes to use exponential moving averages, and you can apply those onto your chart. And with an exponential, it puts more weighting on recent price information. So you still use the same data points, but it puts more weight on more recent information because that's the latest news, right? But a simple moving average averages the data. It weights them all equally. All right, so let's zoom in a bit, and let's say that we feel that support is maybe around this level, 51. You could draw on these levels for maybe the past, maybe a little higher. 51, 52 is the 50, 51 is the support level. Now, what about resistance? Well, let's look at these different resistance levels, maybe around here. Resistance at about 56, 57. Now, let's look and see what recognia has to say. And that's why, especially when there's been big moves, maybe it could be tough to spot. So let's go to recognia, and let's look and see what they have in store for advanced micro. Once again, we're going to increase the font. Click on the Control+ button. Sometimes you have to do it several times. And what we're going to do is, the first thing you'll notice is there's a support and resistance box over here. But this is based on, check to see what it's defaulting to. This is based on 500 bars. So with recognia, they like to use bars. It gives you the same information as a candlestick, but it just visually looks different. You don't have those, the filled in candlestick colors of, let's say, green or red, but you get the same information. Those notches represent the highs and the lows of the day. So let's click on more detail to change the number of bars. So instead of 500 days, which is, there's about 20 to 21 trading days in a month. So 500 bars is getting close to 2 years worth of information. So let's tighten that up and let's look at the past 2 months and let's recalculate. And you could see that for the past 2 months, it's looking at the support level of 47, so a lower level, but it's seeing resistance at about that same level. Now, let's change it for a 20-bar period. And this is the thing. So recognia uses these computer programs to spot these trends, but it also uses standard definitions and practices. So it puts in these definitions, and it's pretty strict. It stays according to those levels. So according to the computer, if you look at the past 20 days, it comes up with a support level closer to 49 and a resistance of about 54.51. So that's where recognia can be very, very helpful. It can come up with some different levels. Now, sometimes, I can get it pretty spot on, and sometimes I can be, a couple dollars off, or when there are very big movement, it can be really helpful. All right, let's go back to recognia, and I'm going to click on the back button. Once more, and that's why you keep using this back button. You'll use it quite a bit. Now, it does separate, if you want to check and see what patterns have been recently created, you could check out to see what those different patterns are on the summary page. That's the first tab right there. And you could see, based on all types of trading horizons, based on all of them, there have been 10 bullish events and 7 bearish. And you could scroll down and see what they are based on the event. Now, what's interesting, I like when I see this, there's on May 27th, there's the hammer, short-term bullish. So if you're not quite sure what the hammer is, click on that link and it will take you to the chart. And it will also, so it will tell you what's going on with the hammer. It tells you that the price may have reached the bottom of the recent downtrend. And you can see it highlights that hammer. So it's having recovered high up from a sharp decline for the session. And you can see it's still in that hammer time range. All right. Now, if you need more information about that event, you click on that blue hyperlink right there. And you click on that link, and then you could print it up. It gives you more information about the hammer. I'm not sure it's going to come up. It's slowly coming up, but you see the information here. And in the right-hand corner, you could save it as an Acrobat PDF. I'm not quite sure if you could see that, but it's in the corner there. And also you could print it up. So that's the nice thing. Many of these pages, of course, are printable. Click on that printer up here, or you could save it as that Acrobat PDF. All right, so let's go through a few more symbols. Let's go through a few more symbols, but check to see what patterns have been created. And you could see the listing, but if you're a certain type of trader and you want it to sort out if it's short-term, intermediate term, or long-term, you can go to those individual tabs. But keep in mind, different traders have different definitions of what short term is. For recognia, short term is anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. Intermediate term is anywhere from 6 weeks to 9 months. And long term is anywhere from 9 months or more. But sometimes if you just click on both the summary and at least your individual trading horizon. I wouldn't just click on the individual horizon. All right, so let's look at a couple other stocks. All right, Jotten, I hope I'm saying your name right, in Massachusetts, would like me to check out Facebook. Sure, let's check out Facebook. And I was just looking at Facebook earlier. I was looking at my watch list for the FANG stocks. And when it comes to Facebook, it's had a really good month in May. It's not up the most over the year, but it definitely had a good month in May. It's up over 22%. But let's look at the chart. Let's look and see what they have to say. All right, what are support and resistance levels? Now, what if you're long the stock? Maybe you bought it recently after earnings. What kind of stop level might you be interested in if you bought the stock? Well, you could turn to recognia. And not only can you get the support and resistance levels, maybe based on, now the one thing is sometimes when you click to change the time frame, you might not get something right away. And because there's just so much pricing information and been just so much change, you might have to switch to another time frame and go back to it, kind of wake it up a bit. But you could see based on the past month, 20 bar period, and it's moved quite a bit. But the support is at 210 and resistance is at 231. So we're in not quite the middle of that range there. So check the support and resistance levels. Now for stop levels, let me click on the back button. And let's say you bought the stock on a particular date. Maybe you didn't buy it now, but let's say you bought it, let me hover over this candle. Let's say you bought it on the 19th, on May 19th. Well, you could turn to recognia and see, what they might consider for a stop level to exit the position. And so that's located in that same area. See where you have support and resistance levels? You also have, if you click over here, you can get a stop level. Now, based on the current price right now, if you were to go out and buy the stock at $224.54, they could recommend a stop level for you. And what I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at more of a tight stop. The tight stop, according to recognia, I did talk to their vice president, and he told me that a tight stop is about a 1 standard deviation move. And then he told me that a medium stop is about a 2 standard deviation move. And sometimes that can be rather far away. And a loose can be pretty far away for me. So we're going to take a look at a tight stop and update the information. And this is based on if we bought the stock right now. And you could see that the calculated stop level would be, and that's below the support level, because they really feel that, well, if it really breaks through that support a bit much, they feel it's really going to fall apart. And so that's 219.27. Now, what if you bought it a few days ago? Now, this is the thing. If your stock has fallen or had a, if the stock has fallen or closed down big one day, it's possible you could have been kicked out on a stop level. So that's the issue. Now, if we just said we bought it 10 days ago on March 19th, maybe we didn't get kicked out at all. So let's select May 19th, I should say. Let's select May 19th, update the time frame, and let's look and see where their stop would have been. Ah, they would have been out of the position. So if they bought the stock at 519, they would have been exited at at they would have had a stop at this level of 226.38, but they would have been filled actually worse. See how you're filled? They're filled like 90 cents worse. And that happens on a stop, right? You can fill significantly worse than the level that you're looking at, especially if you have those, the surprise gaps down in the morning. Okay, but this can be helpful. So not only can you get support and resistance levels on recognia, you could check out your time frames. You can get maybe some stop levels too that you want to consider. All right. Now, all of the information that you're seeing, though, it is based on closing prices. That's the thing. It's based on closing price information. Now, recognia is scanning the markets, however. They're looking to see what patterns might end up triggering at the end of the day based on the closing price. So let's check out a couple other stocks here. All right, we've got Amgen. Sure. Let's check it out for Mitch in Michigan. Amgen. Amgen's a lot in the news, and also there's a biotech convention going on this week as well. Pharmaceuticals are mentioned during that conference. So let's look at Amgen. Let's look at the summary page. Let's look at short term. And then I'm going to show you the anticipated events. So short term, you could see the CCI popped up a couple of times, the 28th, 22nd, and on the 19th. You could also see that the price moved below the 21-day. Remember how I talked about the 21-day? And that happened on May 18th. So that's why you can, and you could check it out on the chart. May 18th is right here. Oh, the next day, it closed below the 21-day, the red line. And that's true. See that? See that? And so you could keep track. And then check the other time frames. You could see there's the stop price here. You could check that out if you're interested. You could change the time frame to look at support and resistance levels. But let's look at the anticipated events. Now, sometimes you might not get anything. That could happen. So I'm crossing my fingers. Great, we're getting something. All right, this is what recognia is really great for, because maybe you're having a hard time spotting a pattern, or maybe one is in the works, but it hasn't been fulfilled just yet. Okay, so it's looking to see if the stock, for instance, if the stock closes, you'll get the technical event, and it will tell you what the price of the stock at the close needs to be. That's the price threshold. Then when it says identified, that simply means, has this happened today? Maybe it's not at that level right now, but has it been there somewhere throughout the day? And you'll get a yes. And we get one yes. Sometimes it's a lot of no's. But we do get one yes. So what we're going to look at, momentum, stocks above 240 bucks. Well, that's kind of tough today. Don't think we're going to make it there. What about above the 21-day? Well, we need to close above this level. That's kind of tough. And I mean, it could happen if there's some great news, some great news event, some, great tweet. But it gives you that price threshold, and then you could set up an alert maybe if it comes close to that. Let's see what else is up there. Now, if the stock closes below 223.76, well, that should be identified. That's a daily one. The 50-day. Yeah, see how we're touching that? So that could end up, if we do close below that level, if we do, I must refresh it because I believe that was just identified, right? And then you could look to see what has been identified. Now, if we close above this level, the fast stochastic will kick in. And there's a good chance we will be above that level. And then it will show up not today, it will be dated today, but you'll see it tomorrow. You will see it tomorrow. All right. So that is for Amgen. Now, the thing is, the reason why we spend a lot of time here is because you could check out stocks in your portfolio or maybe ones that you're considering. This is maybe when you've done quite a bit of research already and you want to see, you've done the fundamental research. Now you want to check out the technicals, and maybe if the fundamentals make sense and the technicals make sense, maybe then it's more all systems go, and then you just have to figure out the amount you're going to allocate at this time. So, so that's why the technical insight tab is pretty important. Now, if you want, you could go to the technical event screener and get some ideas. So let's say you don't have a particular symbol in mind, but you just want to see, what's going on out there. What you could do is click on the technical event screener and look up these preset screens, and they will tell you what's going on with these particular stocks. So for instance, you could look up highly traded bullish stocks. These are stocks that have, and they give you the criteria. So these are stocks where the price is above the 50-day, there's a certain amount of volume, and there is at least one bullish classic pattern. And then the events aren't that old. They've happened from May 22nd until today. Okay, and you see that information. And then you'll get some stock symbols that pop up here. And there's a few that are interesting. I mean, Macy's is popping up. That's quite interesting. Let's see, you know, and you can start adding some of these stocks to your watch list, and they give you the pattern that's popped up. And once again, when you click on the symbol, let's say you can't get enough doesn't Mondelez own Oreos now? It formed Mondelez International formed the bottom triangle. You could check that out and see what's going on and do more research. And that's why we spend a lot of time on that. Now I'll click on the back button. So that's the technical event screener. These are preset screens, really easy to use. You can't tweak them anymore. If you want to really customize your screener, that's when we're going to go to the strategy builder in just about 2 minutes there. So check out these preset screens right there. Now, you could also set up alerts. And then if you set up alerts, you can get an email at the end of the day. I used to get them at about 5 p.m. Central Time. They do say that you'll get them by midnight, but I was getting them about 5 p.m. Eastern. And because of all the volatility we've had lately, I'm getting them a little later at about 6 p.m. Recognia will send out the email to you if in fact anything meets the criteria that you've set up. So you could add a custom alert. We could build one here really quickly. We're going to name it, May. And you could select the types of alerts that you're looking for. And I'm going to type in specific symbols and then click on next. And we could type in some symbols that you discussed today. Here's Amgen. We had a request for Facebook. We had a request for Baba. So you separate it by a comma. Hold on a second. Let's just put in Amgen. Maybe my space is the problem. And then we just want any alert. We're not specific. I just want, if there's a bullish or bearish pattern, I want to know about it. And then you click on finish. And you do have to give them your email address. So this section is all powered by Recognia. Schwab does not run the Recognia tool. I'm just demonstrating how it works. And you'll have to tell Recognia how, where you want that email to go to. So click on delivery options right here, and you could see the email address pops up. Okay, it's little itty bitty, but and then click submit, and you'll get it in the late afternoon, just a couple hours after the market closes. All right, let's go to featured ideas. This top part is powered by I should say Trading Central. They bought Recognia a few years back, and you get, they come up with some ideas based on your criteria. So you can customize your settings. So click on custom settings right here. And I like to look at NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange stocks. And then I want to see bullish ideas. You could look at bearish ideas too. And then some of these stocks maybe you've never heard of. All right. And every once in a while, there's a stock that I used to trade, and it's just fallen off my radar here. And so click on these symbols, and based on a particular chart pattern, they feel that it has a certain, potential. So in this case, I'm not familiar with GSBC, but they see that it formed a head and shoulders bottom, and they feel that the target could go in the $60 range. So check that out. You could check that out each day as well. So that's featured ideas, the first tab. Now, if you scroll towards the bottom, actually this section is what I just showed you. Here are highly traded stocks, or stocks with a long-term bullish outlook. This information is all on that technical. It's on the technical insight. If you go to the technical screener section, that's where you get preset. Now, another thing is you can see what other users are clicking on in the, in the Recognia family here. You can see that they're clicking on Microsoft, the hammer. People like to click on the hammer there. You can see on May 27th, also AMD. That's what I just, showed you. And so they added my click in there as well. And then you could see most viewed bearish. It includes ETFs, you can see. The Spider's Hanging Man, we could click on that, which popped up on May 27th. And then there's BABA. We had a request for BABA, and you could see that MACD has shown up as being triggered a few days ago. All right, so here is the hanging man, and you can get a definition. The price may have reached the top of the recent uptrend, showing it has been susceptible to selling pressure. And we have a lot of headline news today. So Jerome Powell is speaking right now. I'm not exactly quite sure what he's saying, but I know that he's getting ready to help have their lending facilities help Main Street, not just to help smaller businesses and individuals out there. All right, and also we have President Trump. He's going to be speaking today he's going to have a conference on what's going on with China. So there could be a lot of news going on as I'm speaking. All right, now let me share with you how to create a screen. Let's go to Strategy Builder. And Bob in Arizona wants to know, Recognia analysis is based on the end of day, actually price action. It's waiting to see, it's not based on intraday action. However, there is an intraday trader tab right here where every 15 minutes you could see based on your criteria, which stocks are short-term movers or shakers. But it has to close for that, let's say 21-day simple moving average, for it to trigger and to be bullish or bearish, it has to close there. It has to close there on all of the on these 3 tabs that I've been highlighting today. It's based on closing information. However, they are interested in that intraday information as well when it comes to the intraday trader tab. All right, let's build a screen. Let's build a screen. Let's click here and let's see what sector. All right, we've got a bunch of sectors coming out. All right, Shelley wants quite a few. Let me see, I could put in a couple sectors. Let me just show you how it works. We'll just get a big list. But let's click on, you have to then look at each folder, look at the criteria. And some of the folders have the same criteria. So as you're working through it, you might have forgotten that you clicked on it, but that's okay. It'll tell you you already have it there. So we'll start first with the first folder. So let's click on popular. We could enter a stock price. I'm really not interested in that myself. You could enter volume. Maybe you're looking for PE ratio. You could enter that type of information. What I want is, I'm going to be looking for actually a particular sector. So let's go to analysts. You could enter that information. For recognia, they give you Columbine Capital Quant ranking. You could add that in there. It's quite interesting. There are, many people pay quite a bit of money to get this information each month, and this is available for free. All right, you just get you don't get the actual research report, you get the ranking on a score of 1 to 10. Now, company basics, I like to trade stocks that have options available. Maybe you don't, but maybe I want to do a covered call later down the road, or maybe buy a put. And also sometimes the stocks that have options available, they're more actively traded too. Now, for sector and industry, let's add this in. And okay, I'll put in a few. I'll do a few. We'll put in, for Lamar, we'll do technology. And for Shelley, we'll do home builders. Okay, let me see. So, and you could be more specific too. So we could click on home building and construction. And then I'll add another. We'll do tech. We had a request for utilities. I'll add in all the utilities. Oh, let me add, oh, I have to click on it again. Let me add it again. Utilities. You can add in more. Wait a minute. I've done this. Maybe I'm thinking that this is like Street Smart Edge. All right, let me just do technology and we could do it individually. I thought you could add in more than one. Let me see. Let me add in. Okay, technology. I guess you could just do one at a time. I'm all right, just one at a time. Now, what we're going to do, because we're on recognia, right? We're interested in what they have to say about particular chart patterns. So we're going to skip all the other information, but if you're interested in what kind of debt do they have, you could add that in there, similar to what we have on schwab.com, or dividends, if you're looking for a particular dividend yield. But we're looking at technology, so some of them don't have necessarily stellar dividends. And then let's see, you might be looking for growth or earnings, but we'll go to technicals. And in this case, I'm going to look for any bullish classic pattern. We're going to add that in there. Also, we're going to add in any bullish short-term pattern. We'll add that in there. And then if you're looking for a particular pattern itself, you can click and look and see, all right, I'm looking for a head and shoulders bottom. Let's see how many we get. And we get 26. And then if you're looking for maybe a hammer, we just talked about a hammer. Well, there's a head and shoulders bottom and a hammer with a total of 8 stocks in technology. This is actually kind of interesting. Let's check it out. And which ones do we get? Wow. So this takes us back to where we started, right? We have AMD. We also have Photronics. Wonder if that's a solar firm. We have Wipro, Cognizant. So there you go. So you could start making those adjustments. Now let's just look at utility. Let's look at utilities. And if you're looking for a particular dividend for utilities, by all means, you could add that information in there. But here we're looking for any bullish classic pattern, any short-term pattern as well. That leads us to 28. 28 for utilities. And you could look and see what those stocks are. Click View More. Wow, I'm surprised. PG&E pops up there. They were involved in the California fires, but you could scroll down and see what pops up there for utilities. All right, let's see what questions we have. And you could type in a utilities ETF. You can look up ETFs as well. Now, if you are trading ETFs, make sure that you understand how that product is created. Also understand, if they have dividends, what, about, what type of payout do they have and when those dates are. So check that out. All right, and if you're looking for instance, we have a suggestion looking at airlines. You could click here and you could be very specific. You can go to here we go. And go to industrials. Let's look and see. Well, I'm thinking, hold on a second. You could work your way through these different listings. All right. Now, let me show you one last thing is if you're looking for daily intraday information, you have to work a little backwards on this tool. And, the intraday trader, what it does is it identifies some short-term events, within the day. And it's updated every 15 minutes. And what I would do is go to the watch list first on the right-hand side, and then look to see what some of the preset symbols are first that you're interested in. So for instance, if you're looking in transportation, you could add this to your list. You could see those symbols and you could put it on your radar. Put it on your radar, and then when you're looking at all those stocks in transportation, what are you looking for? And maybe you're looking for wave the flag bullish. Well, what does that mean? Well, they'll give you a definition of wave the flag bullish once you put that up there. All right. And every 15 minutes, you'll get an update. It will tell you what their definition is. If you click expand, it's not popping up at the moment. So work first on the watch list, the preset, put it on your radar, and then you can select what type of short-term intraday trends you're looking for. And then once you create that watch list, go to the event dashboard, and you could check to see what's going on. And you can see Walmart's moving on down. I previously set that up every 15 minutes. It's going to be giving me different alerts. And that's been happening all day for these different stocks. All right, well, super. Once again, I would like to thank you for your participation. Check out the recognia tool. It really can complement your fundamental analysis, or maybe you just want to double check your technical analysis or need more definitions. If you wanted to check out AMD, you thought you saw, a Head and Shoulders bottom, look and see. Oh, they say it's there. They also saw the hammer. You can get those definitions. It also can help you find those support and resistance levels. Maybe you're an options trader. Maybe it could help you find a strike price selection that you might be comfortable creating a covered call on. Or maybe you're looking for a stop level to potentially help you exit the position if it starts to go against you. All right. Now, once again, thank you. And everyone stay tuned, because up next we do have Charting the Markets with chartered market technicians Lee Bohl and Mike Bruskoff. Now, later on today, I'm going to be back with Rob Fleming from the Schwab Center for Financial Research on closing remarks. And we're going to take a look at not just what's going on in the markets right now, but we're going to take a look back at what's been going on in the month of May. So everyone stay tuned, take care, and if I don't hear from you later, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You could think getting commission-free trades is as good as it gets, but you know better. At Schwab, free means more. You get commission-free online trades, plus quality trade executions on our powerful platform. All from the only firm that offers a satisfaction guarantee. Expect more from your firm. Trade up to Schwab, the better place for traders.
Hi, this is Jeff Kleintop with 90 seconds on what we're watching this week. The Beige Book, China's on the hook, and we get a forward look all this week. The Fed's so-called Beige Book is due out on Wednesday, coming out as it usually does 2 weeks before the next Fed meeting, which is on June 10th. The Beige Book offers a collection of observations from businesses around the country rather than economists, and it offers some insight into what's happening right now on Main Street. It's likely to contain some grim tales. Now, the Fed previewed some additional tools last week they could use if needed. We'll have to see if the Beige Book influences their thinking on how much is needed. U.S.-China tensions